let's cut to the chase. I don't want to be British anymore. I especially don't want to be English. I don't want to be associated with being British. I don't want to be associated with being English. I'm sick of it. I'm tired of it. I'm annoyed by it. I've just had enough. Since I was a kid, I've been treated like an outcast. People have used me as a target. Primary school, high school, I was picked on mercilessly. And would anyone do anything about it? No, they wouldn't. I tried. I tried for 11 years. 12 years even. But nobody would listen. Nobody would do anything about it. Nobody picked up on the fact that I had Asperger's when they should have done, when the signs were obvious. Nobody picked up on the fact that I had mental health difficulties. I was never given the help I needed. And even when it came to conversation, I was pushed aside. It was always, even by friends, it was always, "Shut up, James. Shut up, James. Shut up, James. Shut up, Wesley, I mean James." So I became this quiet guy in the corner, listening to the conversation, hoping one day I might be able to join in, that I'd be allowed to join in. But it was never going to happen, was it? And even as an adult, when I've needed help, when I've desperately needed help, when I've gone to someone for help, I've not got it. And people still use me as a target every day of my life. Just big old target painted on my back. Ah, what? You're gonna give up being British because people have treated you like a target? Boo fucking who? Well, it's not just because of that. That's just symptomatic of what Britain is today, of what the people of Britain are. The majority of them. Not all, but a lot of them. They are selfish, self-absorbed. They push out anybody they deem as being unworthy. Not always consciously, but they treat people like me, as though they don't deserve to belong. Like they deserve to be outcasts. I'm tired of that selfishness. And you can see that selfishness evident with a certain thing beginning with B. Oh, we want to take back control. We want our country back. We want Britain back the way it was in 1952, before the empire collapsed. And even though the EU referendum, has been proven to have been manipulated by companies like Cambridge Analytica, by the Russians, by dickheads like Nigel Farage, even then, people don't listen. They're too absorbed in this selfish bubble, this torrent of bullshit perpetuated by 40 years of media propaganda from the likes of the Daily Mail and Rupert Murdoch, to listen properly. I'm not a fan of the EU. Not really. It's too political for my liking. I think it needs to be apolitical if it needs to do any good. And it needs reform. It desperately needs reform. Especially since in the last 20 years it has expanded so much. If it's going to work, it needs serious reform. But we're not going to solve the problems of the EU by being on the outside, always looking in. We're not going to do any good being outside of it. That's just going to destroy us. We're better off with it than without it. But people still don't listen. They're so selfishly anti-EU. So dismissive of anybody who has an idea of who likes what the EU does, who can see things sensibly. They just go off on some racist rant against them. That's not good. And then you have the government. Even before the last general election, it was clear that they were an incompetent bunch of right-wing douchebags. It was clear that they were not suited to government. It was so clear that they were incompetent. And yet somehow they got a massive majority. People looked at that wig-wearing cockwomble and said, yeah, I want to vote for him. Beggars belief. And that's the thing about British people today. They don't listen. They're too self-absorbed and stuck in their own heads to see reason, to see sense, to accept other viewpoints. And still, after the last few months of the pandemic, there are still people who are supporting that god-awful government. There are still people who would vote for them. And then there's the general attitude of the British people themselves. Look at the last few months, well, it's mostly the English in this case. Look at the pandemic. Oh look, it's a nice sunny day. Quick, let's all go to the beach where we'll crowd together as if there's not a pandemic happening at all. Oh look, the pubs are reopening. Let's all crowd into a pub together. I know what we'll do. Let's all do the conga. Let's all do the conga. Social distance conga. Yeah, conga. Yeah. Oh, why? Why? Just because these people didn't like the idea of social distancing or wearing a mask or differing just for a few months from their lives. Couldn't stand just for a few weeks or a few months changing things for the better to stop this pandemic. They had to run to the beach, to the pub, do the conga down the street. You couldn't even manage to stay in your own flipping homes for just a few weeks. I'm sick of that attitude. I'm sick of the selfish ignorance of the British people. I don't want to be associated with that. And inevitably, you are associated with that. With the government, with Brexit. With these images of people just congering down the street just because you're tarred by association. And don't get me started on Brits abroad. The common image of British people abroad. I would like a pint of eggs, per favore. Grazie, per favore. Un pinto de bœuf? C'est anglais, et fou! And these people as well who want to just go to somewhere like Spain and have all these British things with them, surrounding them. They want to go live in Spain, but they still want British pubs and bangers and mash and don't want to learn the language. They want to do like the British were doing in India 100 years ago, taking British culture out there with them. Oh no, let's just impose our own sophisticated culture on these savages. It's the same attitude. It's the same idea. The British just, it's not all the British, but I'm sick of it. Being British, you get associated with that, inevitably. And I don't want to be associated with that. But you can't escape it. Coming out of my mouth, it's English. I was born in England, product of the British school system, product of 26 years of British culture. I'm studying at a British university. I'm studying films made in Britain for my PhD. And I'm stuck here. I've got no other nationality. I can't exactly claim the nationality of my twice great grandfather, can I? Especially when I've never been to the Isle of Man. Although I would like to. I'd like to go and maybe spend a year out there just exploring the island. Write a little travel book maybe. But I can't claim to be Manx, can I? I can only claim to be the rightful Prince of Man. Can't escape being British. But nationality is only a construct, right? Right. It's a human construct designed to make sense of the world. It's like time and gender in that respect. It doesn't actually physically exist. So maybe legally, okay, fine, whatever, British, fuck off. In here, up here, I don't have to be British, I don't have to be English. I can be whatever nationality I choose to be. I don't even have to have a nationality if I don't have to. If I don't want one. I could be a creature of no nation.